What's up, y'all? I'm gonna stop talking to y'all at the beginning and just get straight to the reaction. No time to waste.
These individual judges are overstepping. If what you're essentially saying is that the president, who is the commander-in-chief, cannot determine when we are being invaded, an individual district court judge is going to decide that? No, thank you.
Can I just ask a...
I'm gonna let them go for a second, because that is, he's just the gaslighting that these Republicans do drives me insane.
Simple question. Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war?
The president.
No.
If we're being invaded, I want the commander-in-chief.
Scott, no. It's actually the Congress.
You're asking if we're being invaded.
Congress makes the decision on whether or not we get to decide when we're at war. What have Republicans come to? Now you're okay with your president making a decision that we're at war. And again, they've deported 200 gang members, quote unquote, and they're going on and on with deporting, right? My thing is, though, the border is 99%. So 99% of people are from, according to Trump. I know it's between 95 and 99. The border is technically under control right now. He's doing a good job of that, right? I'm curious to know what's going to be the excuse once that's all done. Are they going to finally admit that they're trying to scare people from coming into the country and trying to scare the people that are already here into leaving? Are they going to admit that the immigration system is flawed, terribly flawed, and that no matter how much force you put on it, eventually there will be a floodgate of other people coming in again because we don't have a immigration system that's really, really good for people? Not necessarily really good, but I don't want to say really, really good, but we don't have an immigration system that's effective enough to get people in effectively. It's complicated, and she is so beautiful. I love how she looks.
I'm asking.
You want to call Congress and see if we're being invaded?
A basic constitutional
We'll be taken over before they ever get to the committee.
Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war? The answer is Congress.
I'm talking about if we're being invaded.
When the president says we're at war, he has to
show we're actively at war.
And really, what he needs to do is go to Congress.
Well, you guys just discuss it in committee. We'll let in another 20
Wait a second, though. I thought the genius of our system was that we weren't beholden to one guy's opinion. That.
Right? Like, yes, go get him, man. Get him, man.
The genius of the American system of government was that we had 3 co-equal branches, and in those co-equal branches, decisions were made about how we go about doing things. Now, we want to tear that to shreds so that we can kowtow to one guy's opinion. Then we are in a monarchy. We're being ruled.
What's the distinction?
Well, here's my thing, too. Like, I want to go deeper for the Republicans and the people that are going to jump in the comment section. Not going to like what I'm about to say, specifically the white folks, right? Would you have liked it if Obama was doing all the stuff that he's doing to the right? If Obama was able to do everything that Trump is doing right now to the right, cut back on programs, fire a bunch of people. First of all, I would have never gotten as far as it did because he was already on the chopping block with everything he said. But imagine if Obama was able to do everything that Trump is doing right now, right? Would you be arguing that it's okay for the president, Obama, to declare that it's like, oh, we're at war for no reason? No, you would want Congress, you'd want a system of checks and balances. But for some reason, the Republicans are seeming to let that kind of go right now, which is interesting because I don't understand after Trump how this party is going to come back from this. They have shown that they want to defy the rule of law. So I don't know how this party's ever going to come back from this in the eyes of at least the younger voters. I know the seasoned baby boomer voters are the ones that are going to still be voting on the Republicans to a degree. But I think like the Republican Party, I don't know what they're going to do next. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Distinction between strikes and whether the United States is actually at war with an entity or a nation. And there is a distinction. Now, nobody is saying here Trump can't deport people because, you know, Barack Obama deported a lot of people.
And that's
absolutely. I deported a lot of people, and he did so based on the existing law. It is possible to...
Facts. He did it based on the existing law.
It's not an applicable law.
That's right. Go ahead.
This is the thing, like, because people always bring up, oh, Obama deported a lot of people. You ain't say nothing then because Obama did it through the law. He did it through due process. And also, was trying to make an effective immigration system that was bad better. Like, he offered incentives for people who are already here to come out of the shadows. You had to pay a fine, but you had to come out the shadows. It was an incentive thing to get people who are already here, who don't want to leave their families or abandon their families, to do better. Yes, he deported a lot of people, but he did it through law. He did it through Congress, and he did it through the judicial system. He did it through a checks and balance system. Trump is just saying, screw all that, I'm going to deport whoever I want. You don't want a president like that.
As a lawyer, I would create a...
Let me make it clear. You don't want a president like that because it could happen to you. It could happen to you. That's the only time people start realizing it's a problem, when it starts happening to them.
That law has to be used at wartime when there's an invasion.
War is different than it was in 1812.
No, we cannot use colloquialisms to say, "Oh, we're generally at war."
The Houthis are not a country, and yet we're bombing them.
But let's be clear about this. Nobody is saying
invaded
that Trump doesn't have the ability to deport people. He has the ability to deport people, and he should. Right? There was a lot of people coming in that should not be here. He has the right to do that, but he's trying to use this act to get around due process. And the court is saying this act does not apply. They're not.
Now, to be fair to the other side of the argument, you can't sit here and say there's a lot of people coming in here and he has the right to deport them and then get upset when he does deport them. Like, that's a contradiction. That's a huge contradiction. Like, either he can deport them or he can't. Either he's going to go through due process or he's not. And if somebody crosses the border illegally and does a crime, technically crossing the border illegally is a crime. This is why this is tricky. But we do want a president that follows the rule of law. And definitely Obama followed the rule of law. So, like, let's keep on.
Telling him not to deport. They're saying use the process that's in place.
You guys are trying to use
does not apply.
As much bureaucracy and red tape as possible.
No,
it's not bureaucracy. It's not
It's the law.
What we're trying to do is use the law. The law. I mean, look, is that such a big problem to say you can do things, but you have to do them lawfully? There's a process.
We think this is lawful,
but it's not.
But the court just said one stupid judge, and I want to see what the rest of them say.
You know,
why is that stupid? Because
I guess we have to remind everybody here that Trump appointed this judge.
I don't care.
Okay?
Again,
So this is a Trump appointed judge.
He did appoint the judge.
He's not infallible. Judges make stupid decisions all the time.
Well, okay, how about this? So you say the judge is stupid. How do we know that the president is stupid?
I'm sure that's your opinion.
Well, it certainly is.
But he won the election.
So what does that
I don't think anybody. Listen, I don't think anybody is stupid. I think all three branches have the right to operate the way they want. I think the president of the United States has the right to operate based on his opinion because he's voted in. But the judicial branch has the right to interpret the meaning of the law the way they see it. That's their right. And to make proof a requirement.
This is a key question. What if another group of people, say not illegal aliens, but just some other group from somewhere else, actually came to the shores of the United States, not a nation, but say a group, any kind of group, and actually did come ashore and try to invade, I don't know what else you would call it, the United States? Would you run to court and ask a federal judge if the president of the United States, can we defend the nation now?
But
can we stop the... It is. They're coming across.
You were also generalizing here. You were talking about, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you, Scott.
It's crazy how it's unfair that it's like 5-on-1, but Scott just made a good point. I see. I'm fair. But that's an actual invasion. What constitutes as an invasion, I guess, would be the next question.
But what's the difference? What's the difference? There will be a declaration of war.
If they're gay members and if they're killing or raping women in this country, they should absolutely be deported, and there should be deportation orders, and there should be a process, and there is a process to deport them. You are saying that every person that is here illegally is raping people, and that is not true. You're saying they're all part of these gangs. They're invading our country. They're doing all these things.
They're certainly associated.
They're not all violent.
And that's where the disconnect is between both sides of the party. One side believes that one side thinks that the other side thinks that everybody who's over here illegally, right, has done some criminal act to be here, right, is a criminal to a degree. They believe the other side thinks that. And the other side might not think that. They just might want to get the people who are over here, criminals who do extra things like murdering people, doing things like that, illegally. Doing those kind of illegal acts. They want to get those people removed. And maybe the people who are here illegally, some of them deported, but some of them, as long as they're going through the process in order to get to become a citizen, then fine. I think like the right, some people on the right may agree with that. I think the rational right agrees with that. The rational left is like, what they think is that, oh, you just guys want everybody to come in the country who's a criminal, blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't even think the left thinks that they want everybody to come in that's a criminal. I think the left just wants more people because we definitely need people in this country to help build the country. This is a nation of immigrants. But I think that... Jillian, can you shut the door?
Yeah.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh, god damn it. Fuck it. All right, let's keep going.
They're not all violent. They're not all violent. And everybody, whether they are 2 years old or whether they are 90 years old.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so the right thinks that they just want everybody to come into the country, no checks and balance on anything when they come into the country, and they want them to come into the country because it helps them win their elections. And not necessarily. I think the common ground that all of us can agree on is we need immigrants, but we need people to come in legally. We don't need people who come in illegally. We don't need people who come in illegally, doing crimes and things like that. If you come in illegally, what's the reasoning for you coming in? And if the reasoning is justified, then we should discuss whether or not we should get these people onto a pathway to citizenship. The hand just went numb. All right, let's keep going.
Years old and have been in our country the entire time, they deserve a process. The criminals,
I'm sorry,
the criminals
what process did they follow to get here? The process of breaking our laws?
Well, because there is a law, there are laws in order, and there are deportation proceedings to get these people out of our country.
Listen, how long
the
you want this to last?
99-year-old who is here did not invade our country.
All right, Batia, let me let you get a word in.
Well, to me, like, the energy in defense of these gangbangers.
I'm not defending them.
See? To gang members. It's like, no, they're defending the people who are here illegally or illegally, shit. Like, 'cause that's what they're kind of trying to roll back on too. Like green cards and things like that. They're defending those people. They're like, look, like, these people come over here and they want a better life. And they're trying to escape tyranny, problems in their country, and they want to come over here and have a better life. And I think that we should open up a pathway to citizenship for people who want to come in and be Americans. For sure.
I feel like that poem where it's like, first they came for the guy who beats his wife, and I said nothing because I don't beat my wife. And then they came for the guy who said, I love killing Jews, and I said nothing because I don't love killing Jews. And now they came for the gangbangers, and I said nothing.
Can I say something real quick? Do you know why that triggers me? That triggers me because I come from a place where a whole bunch of people, they're American citizens, but they're thrown away. They're thrown away because they might have committed crimes, because they got in trouble when they were young.
You should be the angriest that they care about the gangbangers and not those people.
No, what I care about is that there is a system of laws that is supposed to protect the due process of those people.
Yeah.
And that has to matter more than what society thinks about whatever they have done.
Get due process. I don't know why the Democrats are not angry about that. Because they're not citizens. We do not owe them the same thing. It has to mean something to be an American.
No, but to be fair to Van's point, this is something that I don't think white people understand. Black people and minorities, people who come into this country who learn enough about it, don't trust that one person in this system should make all the decisions. They feel like there should be a system of checks and balances because one person can have a bias, so that balance needs to be checked. And that's what Van is getting at. He's saying he comes from a place where that bias is always affecting how these people thrive. So it's like no, that bias shouldn't even exist. And so they're arguing against the bias. However, though, her point is good too. We shouldn't be defending people who are gang members coming into the country. That's for damn sure. They gotta go. But like anybody who wants to come over here to become an American and escape something that's happening negative over there, they should have the ability to do that. Like, definitely should.
You are saying essentially that you don't like the way that the law is applied in this instance, and you would like to change it, which is fine.
I'm not saying that, Abby. I'm saying every other district judge has ruled in Trump's favor.
That is absolutely not true. That is not true. No other judge, and let me clarify this, it's important. No other judge has issued an opinion on this specific issue.
Yes, they've not ruled against it.
No. What the Supreme Court said was the judge that it was in front of did not have the authority to make this this decision. It wasn't in the right district, so he sent it to Texas. This is the first judge that's ruled on this actual case of whether or not this rule or this law applies, the Enemies Aliens Act. And they said it does not apply. This is the first time it was ruled on that.
6 other federal judges have issued provisional orders on this issue of whether and how, but really specifically how.
But it's
how
a
the Trump
constitutional question, though,
administration
because they
can
think,
deport these people.
Because you all are debating the statutes and the judge's right to oversee a statute. What the Trump administration is arguing is that this is a foreign policy issue, and we have sole right under the Constitution to execute American foreign policy. So they actually see themselves as above this conversation about individual judges micromanaging.
And I think that's a novel interpretation. We got to go, but that's, I mean, Scott,
you've heard multiple officials.
Scott, I think you would acknowledge this is a novel interpretation of.
I would add proper as well.
Okay, novel interpretation of the use of this particular statute for immigration.
The only purpose of this use of this statute is to get around due process. Everything else is the same, except for this statute, you don't need due process, and why do we want to get around that?
Definitely a touchy subject because the Supreme Court, that's where we're being lied to at too. I looked this up. The Supreme Court did say that judge didn't have jurisdiction, basically not jurisdiction, but that judge didn't have the authority basically to make the decision to bring the plane back. However, though, they didn't rule in Trump's favor on anything. They just said the judge didn't have authority. Well, technically that's in Trump's favor to a degree that Trump can actually do that. But when argued in front of the Supreme Court, I got to look into that. Like what happened when it was argued in front of the Supreme Court? If it's even, no, it hasn't been argued yet. It's still, the argument is still coming. So we'll see when it's argued in front of the Supreme Court. Like, I know birthright citizenship is coming up, that debate, which is a good conversation we should have. But yeah. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.